back, everybody. You're listening to Blood on the Mic, a podcast where we talk about all things music. I'm your host, David Mercado, and with me is my co-host, Louis.
Torna. I didn't know we were going to do a last name.
I'm just used to saying it. You know, I say
you
it.
You got that professional radio background.
I say it out loud in the radio show, and a lot of people don't, but I'm one of the people that do. You're listening to one of our new music podcasts where we become a little bit more topical, and we try to listen to music that's coming out recently, and apparently we're reacting to it live as well.
This is our reaction channel, yeah.
Reaction channel. So you're getting our first impressions on this brand new music that's coming out. If you missed the last one, it should be up. You know, we had one about a week or two ago.
Yeah,
less than 2 weeks ago.
I completely forgot what you even talked about in it, but...
Oh, luckily we have a playlist. We have been attaching a playlist to our YouTube videos, and I think we're trying to figure out ways to attach it on other platforms too. But that way you can listen to the songs that we're listening to over here. But last time we talked about Gorillaz, Bully, Shamir, it was Gorilla Toss, Built to Spell, Fontaine's DC. I think those were the 6 that we covered last time. And then we kind of had a little bit of a chat about Quero Quero Bonito in their new video game that's coming out.
So what's the first song we're going to cover today?
Today we're going to cover a few more songs. There's 8 songs that we're going to cover. The first song that we're going to cover is from a rapper called Noname. And she's been around for a little bit. Luis over here is a little bit more of a fan.
Yeah, she came out, I think her first album came out in like 2016, maybe, or 15, something like that. I don't know. But it was Telephone. It was, long awaited from me, at least, and a lot of people, ever since she had that verse on Chance the Rapper's album, Acid Rap. I love Noname. I think she's great. You need to listen to her. Whoever you are, you listen to her.
He's talking to me. He's talking to me. That's who he's talking to. I listen to her every now and then.
But this song is interesting because it's part of a beef that she's having with J. Cole, which is like the 2 most unlikely rappers you'd ever hear of having a beef.
Right.
J. Cole and Noname is strange.
Maybe that's why they're having a beef, because I will say they're both sort of atypical personalities for rappers, and maybe they just happen to be the kind of personalities that clash with each other.
Well, apparently Noname was saying stuff like all these big rappers are talk about the plight of... Can you not do that while we were recording?
There's another bug in my room.
Okay. So Noname she tweeted out at one point saying like, oh, all these big rappers will say so much about like the plight of the black community on record, but they won't even say a tweet. Something like that. And I guess J. Cole took offense to that personally, and then he released a song saying, like...
Hell, I would take offense to that, too.
Well, she didn't name anybody.
I don't even have a Twitter account. How would I even, tweet out anything? I guess Blood on the Mic does. I don't know, Black Lives Matter is what our official stance on this.
Yeah. But I'm sure with J. Cole, too.
Yeah.
But J. Cole then released a song called Snow on the Bluff, kind of basically saying, like... Hey, I'm not a leader, why you should be doing other stuff. I don't know. It was like the most polite diss track. But then shortly after that, Noname dropped a song called Song 33, produced by Madlib. So it's already better than anything J. Cole did. So we're going to listen to it, be back in a minute.
Alright, we're back. So I hope you guys... maybe take a break to listen to the song as well, because we just did. And
yeah, that would be a good idea. Follow along on our playlist. Listen to it when we listen to it. It's a little bit more active listening, but fuck it, do some work.
Yeah. So that was the song 33 by Noname.
What'd you think?
I didn't like it.
Really?
I didn't like it. I like the production. I think the production is great. I like Madlib.
That was some great production. It had kind of piano-led... groovy, kind of jazzy beat, and it's like kind of classic Madlib, but this is what I love about Madlib that he does all the time. He tailors his beats to whoever he's producing for. Like the stuff that he did with MF Doom on Bad Villainy sounds like nothing that he did with Freddie Gibbs off like Pinata and Bandana, and it doesn't sound like this either. This sounds like something that Noname would do great on, and she did. Well, I think she did great on it. I guess you didn't.
Well, Oh, so there's that Madlib album, Shades of Blue, that often goes overlooked.
Well, that's like all just samples of like old jazz shit that
Blue
he's kind of
Blue Note jazz, but I think it's just as an it's a mostly instrument. I think.
Was that him as Yesterday's New Quintet? Because he has like a thing where he calls himself Yesterday's New Quintet.
I don't think so.
It's like
but I don't remember
because that's like a jazz project that he does where he makes like jazz music as like a jazz band.
No, I just know that he had like kind of like a producer's dream of he basically had.
Yeah, they gave him
access to anything, right? But
which is amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. But no, I mean what I would say about Noname is that
my cat wants to get in this room, and my wife quickly swept her away.
Yeah, it's kind of like these Zoom calls where the kids come scrambling in there. But yeah, Noname. I don't know. She's calling him out for writing a song about her instead of writing a song about all this other stuff. But she literally just wrote a song about him, and like.
And you know the funny thing about that is that after she released the song, she like the next day she tweeted out, "I regret responding to it." I guess like she let her ego get the best of her.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, because like I don't know. I mean, I also stand for a lot of the stuff that she's like standing for over here. So it's not like I'm.
But you're just like, why even like?
I just think this beef is so dumb. I thought her original comment was also like it's just basically her like tapping other people, going like, "Hey, aren't you gonna say something?" And I don't know.
Well, because
like,
I mean,
it was also like a very quick thing. Like only like 3 days had passed by or something. It was less than a week when she
posted. I don't know when she actually posted that a while ago.
Like I was watching like that Chappelle, Dave Chappelle stand up, and he was like also talking about the same stuff. That he was getting called out like, oh, where's Dave Chappelle at a time like this?
Yeah, and he's like, why do you don't need to listen hear from me?
You don't need to hear from Ja Rule, like he's been talking about this stuff like his entire life. Why is now the time that and he needs to talk about it?
And I love Noname Gypsy as an artist, and she's an activist as well. Like she's constantly, if you look at what she does, she's constantly doing activist work for her community and shit like that. So I can see where she's coming from, where she might be like, I'm doing all this work and I barely have a name. And then huge artists like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, who make their entire career off of being, pro-black, pro all this stuff, when it actually comes down to it, to her, she doesn't see them doing anything. And I don't, and like, I'm on your side of this because like, I'm like, yeah, just leave them alone. But I could see where she's coming from.
Yeah, I understand. I understand where she's coming from. I just don't agree with it. I'm also not a fan of like publicly calling out people. Like,
I'm not really a fan of beef culture and hip hop in general.
It's a little fun, but it's,
I don't know.
It's also silly at the end of the day.
Because like what's that Jay-Z song, The Takeover, where he's like dissing Nas.
Was it? Yeah, I think it was the Takeover.
On the Blueprint.
Yeah, and Nas had Ether.
But I listened to the Takeover, and like I wasn't. I mean, I think I was alive during the beef, but I wasn't listening to Jay-Z when he was like beefing with Nas. So like I listened to it, and I'm like, why the fuck is he calling out Nas? Like now this is just on your album, a song where you're calling out Nas for shit.
Yes,
and he's probably friends with Nas now. Like
they definitely are. I'm
like, why would I just? To me, I'm like, why would you want to put that on one of your albums just to be there forever?
At least it brought publicity to both of them, I would say.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's definitely a strange game to try to play, the beef game, but that's what's going on over here. But overall, I think maybe like a nice song production wise.
So you didn't like it because of the content, basically. Like you didn't like the beef part of it.
I didn't like the beef part of it.
Did you like her rapping, like her like flow and shit? Like, did you think she was a proficient rapper?
Yeah, well, I think at the start of the song I had a little bit of a harder time picking up on what she was saying, but after she was a little bit more. She started being a little bit more direct. I was like, okay, I can understand you more now.
Because, like, I think she's just a great writer in general. Like, she really... It's like her rapping style and, like, her writing style is a lot more poetic and stuff than most rappers, and I enjoy it a lot.
All right, cool. So let's move on to the next one. This one is one of my picks. This is a band called Colts, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't know too much about them, except for the fact that they were... they were mostly known for their 2011 album, I believe, self-titled Colts. I mean, it seems like ages ago that it came out because it's been almost a decade. But yeah, they put out music back in the day, and there wasn't a lot that was coming out since then. I think their last album was from, I guess, 2017, but I don't know. They've really kind of fallen under the radar. There's a new single from them. It's called, what is it called? It is called "Spit You Out," and it just came out this week. We're gonna take a break to listen to that, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Lucy, what do you think about it?
I was hoping that you would go first.
Okay.
But, I mean, I could talk about it. So, I've never listened to Colts before. I never heard about this band until, that we chose to cover it today, like 5 seconds ago. And, I mean, I liked it. It was good, but, yeah, you go.
I really liked it. I think it was the track that I was most excited for that I picked up. It has this groove going through it the entire time. It is I don't know, a little bit infectious, and the beat itself reminds me maybe slightly of like a acid house, like Manchester kind of groove,
like that bass line.
Yeah, the bass line and like the
yeah, because the whole time I was thinking, like, what does this remind me of? And, like, yeah, that is, like, because I think you know more about that stuff than I do, but I knew it, like, had a similar sound that I've heard before.
Yeah, it has a bit of that. In terms of, like, the chords and, like, the instrumentation, it might be a little bit different. There's one part, there's a chord change that reminded me of Radiohead, actually.
There's actually, it reminded me of Burn the Witch.
Oh, really? I can see a little bit of that.
Yeah, at the end it started reminding me of that. The part I really did like is at the end, like, they started bringing, I think it sounded like horns, or maybe like some kind of synthesized horns or something at the end.
Yeah.
I actually like that part a lot.
Yeah, that part was cool. The lyrics are not too forward. I mean, like, the vocals are not too forward. They're kind of just, like, laying there in the back. But I like the choice of synths that they used, I would say. Yeah. You got some other thoughts on the song? Or
I mean, I this cat is going insane. I'm just gonna let her in.
Yeah, just let the cat in. Yeah, we now have a third member here. Hello, Sabrina. You want to say hi to the chat? No.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, the song. I mean, this might have been a bad idea. We have the loudest cat I've ever seen in my life. Cats are supposed to they're supposed to be quiet. Now there's another cat in here.
Now we have two cats. Okay. Yeah. So what were you saying about the song, though?
I like it. I don't know if I'd go out of my way to listen to it, but it sounds good. It does have kind of like maybe a 90s vibe a little bit.
I guess a little bit too. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just not my favorite kind of vibe.
I liked it. I guess I'm curious to see what. I don't know if they're gonna put out a new album or not. But if they are putting out a new album, I'm curious to at least hear about how it is. So hopefully somebody covers it in some commentary or whatever. All right, next song. We are gonna move on over here. This has been a recent favorite of our chatting. Is JPEGAMAFIA.
Yeah, JPEGAMAFIA is probably my favorite new artist from the past few years.
Peggy?
Yep, and he's been releasing a lot of stuff recently. He had the single Cutie Pie a few weeks ago, and before that he had Bodyguard and Covered in Money and Bald. Like, he's been releasing a lot of stuff in the past few months, basically during the quarantine. He also had that How to Build a Relationship series of videos on YouTube that he's been releasing periodically. So this new song is called The Bends, and we're going to give a quick listen to it. See you in a minute.
And we back. All right, that was JPEGAMAFIA with The Bends.
Yep.
It's a Donald Trump centered song.
Basically, fuck Donald Trump. It's a message. I agree with it.
Blood on the Mic endorses fuck Donald Trump as our official political stand. So right over here, and Yeah, we actually had the great fortune of watching it in video form. So he's just kind of like dancing as a
Looks like he's in like a
beekeeper.
beekeeper's outfit or
Yeah,
whatever.
but he's
But
just out in the field somewhere.
yeah, I mean it's a low budget music video, but the song, uh, I liked it. He's in JPEG Mafia does this thing. He's been doing this a lot more recently, especially his last album and his the most recent singles he's been doing. A lot of them are like kind of auto tune singing kind of stuff. He's not like really rapping like he was doing on Veteran in a lot of songs. Uh, but I still like those songs where he does the more like kind of melodic thing, and I like the chord changing in this song. Like I like the synth sounds he uses. It's not probably not one of my favorite JPEG Mafia songs to come out recently, but I think it's a solid song.
Yeah, I like it, especially in this genre of like Trump centric songs. There's there's plenty of people who like try to write songs about Donald Trump, but kind of fall flat in one sense or another. They either try to be a little bit too heavy handed with the messaging, or like it's just it doesn't come from a place of creativity. It just comes from a place of like just getting like basically yelling out of the universe. But this one I think is well crafted. I did like the production on it. It had kind of like this an interesting production. I don't know exactly how to describe it.
It's kind of like, well, the way that we were talking about Ariel Pink in a lot of ways. I think he does kind of the same thing, but for different genres, where he's melding a lot of different genres together into like something unrecognizable from what it originally was. Now the fucking dog barking while we're doing
We
it.
should just call this like pet sounds on the mic.
Yeah,
With,
the pet sounds episode.
yeah.
But yeah, like I hear influences kind of like in the chords and the sounds of some of the synths, kind of like in like 90s R&B a little bit, and I like, and the drums are kind of like, I mean the drums change a lot in this song too, but it's kind of like that hard hip hop drum stuff. Oh god, careful with the cat.
No, the cat's fine. These cats just kind of just jump all over the place.
That's what cats do.
Yeah, but no, I liked it. I liked the way that he kind of like verbalized stuff. I like the way that he's using the auto tune. Some people have I guess have kind of wished that autotune was dead, but I think a lot of creative stuff can be used with autotune.
I mean, people haven't wished that autotune was dead since like 2008. Like the autotune is everything now. Like every song has autotune.
It really is. It really is.
And I'm fine. I mean, even back then, people were still using autotune creatively. I don't understand why people
Jay-Z primarily.
Yeah, Jay-Z's like, didn't he have a whole song devoted to like that?
He had like the death of autotune. DOA is what he called it.
I can see why, because like kind of when T-Pain came out with like his huge auto-tune stuff, like a lot of people were doing that at the time. It was a huge thing for a while.
He just didn't like, I guess, that I mean, because Jay-Z does not do anything to his voice. Yeah, he barely even adjusts to like the different chord changes in the song. So like, I mean, to him maybe he kind of saw it as like almost like if autotune continues, it'll be the death of like the style of hip hop that he was a part of. I don't know. Maybe he tied it a little bit too much. But I don't know if you go back to the early hip hop. There was a lot of weird stuff that they did to their vocals back then.
Oh, if you're talking about like 80s electro hip hop
like
stuff.
80s electro hip hop. Yeah, like this whole thing about adjusting your vocals is
that was
new.
just like people like that hip hop purist thing, which I think is stupid.
It's a little dumb.
It just hinders the progression of music. Like just all this shit, it's heading somewhere. Like when 808s and Heartbreak came out, people were like, "Oh, the shit's terrible." They hated Kanye after that. Like whatever. 808s and Heartbreak probably went out to be the most influential album of the last 20 years. So
I disagree with that, but
in hip hop,
it was pretty influential. But
we need to do an episode about it.
Yeah, no, I think Lucy comes from a slightly different point in her generation.
I don't even like that album that much. I'm just looking at music as a whole. That album influenced everything afterwards.
I would by those standards, I would say "Walk a Flock of Flame."
Him too
was also pretty influential. But okay, we'll one day we'll cover Kanye West. All right, should we move on to the next song?
Yeah.
All right, this next one came out a little bit earlier in the month, but still June. We kind of skipped over it last time, but it's called "Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever" there's been a lot of fuzz about it on the r/indie head. Shout out to r/indie head, and I decided to check it out. They're from a new album called Sideways to New Italy. This song is called the second of the first. Let's take a break for that. All right. That was Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever. I hope you guys maybe took the time to listen to it too. The second of the first is the name of the song.
So, I kind of like that song. I don't know. There's a lot of songs on this stuff that we're listening to that I just feel like meh about. Like, I like that one, good enough. It kind of had like a 90s alternative rock feel, kind of more upbeat, kind of driving rhythm.
Right, I guess maybe to be more specific, had I guess a little bit of a California vibe, maybe like later Weezer or like I don't know, like Jimmy Eat World or like I don't know. It had like that kind of like fun rock sound. It wasn't anything too edgy or it wasn't dark at all. I would say. It it did have maybe slightly too much reverb in some parts,
Yeah.
but I like the bass groove on that one. It was upbeat and energetic. The drums were still going at it. So um, I wouldn't go so far as to call it boring, but it is a I would say it's kind of like a fun standard song, maybe to like drive along the beach.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like, you know, like a version of like Sunny California kind of thing, like driving down a California thing in an indie movie.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It just sounded kind of like derivative to me, and there was nothing special about it to me.
Yeah, I guess maybe for this song, not so much, but I do think it's a nice sound. If anybody looking for that type of thing, I think this album. I listened to a few songs, and I think they kind of deliver on that vibe. If anybody's missing some of that in their life. All right. Yeah, not much to say about this one though. Rolling Blackouts, Coastal Fever, Sideways to New Italy. All right. Next, we're gonna move on to.
This next song is by Arca, featuring Rosalia. It's called KLK. I think it's off of. I think
maybe,
Arca just released.
Maybe it's KLK. I don't know. Arca's Venezuelan and
Well, yeah,
Rosalia is from Spain, so.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it might just be in Spanish. So, but either way, it's the letters KLK. But so yeah, Arca I think just released a new album of stuff, and I'm not a huge like Arca fan. I loved the production, Arca's production on FKA Twigs' first album LP1. That's really that thing I know them for most is that production. But I love Rosalia. I'm a huge Rosalia fan. So I see Arca and Rosalia together. I'm just interested in what the results of that would be. It just sounds like an interesting pairing.
Okay. Cool. So let's give that one a listen, and then we'll be right back. Alright, we just found out that it is not Kaluka. KLK is que lo que.
It means que lo que, but
it's like it just means what's up, or like
yeah,
I don't know. Well,
it's like what's up. But the song is the letters KLK. So what did you think of the song?
It was okay. I
figured it wasn't gonna be your thing.
Yeah, I mean, I coming from Miami, maybe some people will think that I will be more akin to this kind of stuff. But actually, coming from Miami, if anything, I have a distaste for a lot of this type of music.
Yeah, but it has that like reggaeton like beat. It sounds like a mutant version of it, kind of.
Right. That's why I don't completely hate it, cause like.
But yeah, that reggaeton stuff I'm not super into either. And just that beat, I don't know. I mean, I didn't live in Miami as long as you did, but I still like heard that a lot.
Right. I mean, I know a lot of people would disagree, but I think that beat is. I never was into it in the first place, but like I think it's just been driven to death, and there's other beats, there's other Latin beats that you can like grab onto. But
Well,
then again, I don't know. The salsa beat was around for like 3 decades before it died. So I don't know how many decades need to pass before reggaeton beats go away. But
it's but they're doing different stuff with that beat now, like. Because Latin music is kind of on the upswing right now.
No,
it's kind of popular
in
America.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely more exciting these days than it was, I don't know, say 15 years ago.
Yeah. Because what was it, like, whenever Gasolina came out, there was, like, an upswing, I think, with Latin music. But they
the number one Fossil Fuel song.
Yeah, the number one. It was made by Big Oil, that song. But yeah, I don't feel like they did anything that artistic with it when it came out. Like with like Latin music in general, at least in America, they weren't like Latin music was hot for a minute and then it just died out, and now it got hot again. But I feel like people are taking it into different artistic realms, like Bad Bunny.
Now it's definitely getting like into the, I guess like the weirder territory. Definitely Arca would.
I mean, Arca's been a weirdo since they came out. Yeah. I think Arca's transgender too. I think.
Yeah, I think
I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean,
Arca just has
Arca's production in general is
sound.
Arca's production in general is very strange, kind of like sounds metallic to me, kind of synthetic.
A lot of people like it though. Like
I like
Arca's work with you mentioned FKA Twigs, but also Bjork worked with Arca for a bit.
Arca's work with their work with FKA Twigs, I thought was perfect for FKA Twigs. Like that's perfect production for her. But yeah, just listening to this, like, it's interesting, but it also felt the song is only like 3 minutes and 40 seconds, but it felt like it dragged for a long time.
I think it's so repetitive, and there's not like multiple parts to the song. I feel like it's just one groove.
It's got like one groove,
one beat,
and there's like it changes up some. Like there's some different moments, but none of them are that different from the core concept of the song.
Right, which, I mean, maybe it's not so bad for, like, certain things. Like, I don't know, maybe if you're dancing to it or something like that. I mean, I know that's why a lot of, like, electronic songs in general tend to be kind of repetitive. But, I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. I mean, I would say it definitely won't disappoint some people, but it's not a track that I would go back to myself.
Me neither. Yeah. We got to get some songs that we like in here.
I like the Cold song that we covered earlier. So
I like the Noname song.
Yeah, and I didn't hate it.
I like the JPEGAMAFIA song too. Okay, we need some songs that we love.
Okay. Well, let's see. Over here, we're gonna move on to this release. It got a yellow flannel, so it's good, or at least supposed to be really good. It is a long-awaited album from Phoebe Bridgers. Phoebe Bridgers is one of those young, I don't know if I guess I'll say indie darlings, up-and-coming indie darlings. She's riding this wave of bedroom pop, of female singers primarily, laying out their entire emotional souls onto the recording sheet. And not very processed. It's very bare bones. I mean, there is obviously production over here, but it's supposed to be as upfront as possible, at least in an emotional sense. Alright, so we are going to listen to the closer to her new album called Punisher. The song is called I Know the End. Alright, that was Phoebe Bridgers, I Know the End. What do you think?
I like that one. That was actually probably one of the songs I like the most out of the songs that we've been listening to. There are moments where she's singing that kind of sounds like 90s singer-songwriter-esque, but it's mostly, at least at the beginning, very acoustic. But then there's moments where there's like orchestration that comes in, like string instruments.
Yeah, there's a trumpet in there, or cornet, I forget which.
Later on, but at the beginning it kind of sounds like they're kind of manipulated in some way, kind of like, at least the strings. I don't know, because they're kind of light in the mix, so they're not too heavy. But then, it builds up, and then there's a big lush instrumentation.
There's a big crescendo throughout the entire song.
It sounds like a good ending song for the album, and it is the last song of the album.
Yeah.
Makes me want to listen to the album, because I haven't even listened to it.
But Lucy over here loves listening to the last songs on albums.
I don't like listening to last songs on the album if I haven't listened to the album first. Because it feels like a spoiler, I guess, for the album. I hate it when people make like the last song on the album like a single. Because I don't want to listen to it first. I want to listen to it last.
What if it's kind of like a coda? Like, like when we listened to Ariel Pink just the other day, we talked about Baby being the last song on Mature Themes. And, I don't think it gives away anything from the album. Or like, I would say like in Sgt. Pepper's, listening to A Day in the Life, A
Day in the Life is like a very final song.
But it doesn't spoil the album for you. Like
it's not like spoiling the album is like that's not what I actually mean. I don't know, like
it's just kind of like a standalone coda for me, I would say. Maybe not with this song. This song does seem like a little bit like a.
It sounds like an ending song.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I'm just a weird person. Like I don't know. It's like maybe OCD or something. But I'm like I want to listen to it in order. I don't want to listen to the last song first and shit. I can't listen to things on shuffle. Like I have to listen to it in order. I can't make a separate playlist where it's in a different order than the original album. I just have to listen to the album in the original order that's meant to be played in.
Oh, okay. I definitely don't. So, actually, when I listened to this album earlier this week, and I listened to it completely out of order. So
really,
I did, yeah.
Why?
Because I was like, let me check out this Phoebe Bridgers character. I keep seeing her skeleton nightgown everywhere, and so I just started listening to her most popular songs, and next thing I know, I was listening to the entire album, but just not in the order of it.
You're a terrible person.
Yeah,
the more that's revealed about you, the more I don't like you.
It was just really weird because I'm a little bit anal myself about the order of, let's say, like how I order my shows, or how I organize my radio shows, but also like when we had our first episode, the Radiohead one, I was also talking about like the ordering of the albums and stuff like that. But
overall, this Phoebe Bridgers song I thought was pretty good. Bordering on great even. It makes me want to listen to the album. Everything else in the music press is saying that she has a great album. So maybe I should listen to them and actually listen to it.
I thought it wasn't bad. I don't believe the hype myself, but I'm definitely not hating on Phoebe Bridgers. I think it's a nice album. What's this song about aliens?
I didn't pay attention to the lyrics that much.
She's talking about the end is near, and like I'm not afraid to be taken or something like that.
You know what it did? Now that you said aliens, it kind of reminded me of Sufjan Stevens a little bit. The Illinois album. Like kind of sounds like something off of that. At least the ending part with the horns and the strings.
I did like the second half more.
It's definitely more interesting.
When there was that chorus coming in, it did remind me of like Sufjan Stevens, and like it kind of sounds like like a bunch of like college age kids singing, like having like a little refrain that they're singing along.
Yeah.
But I think what got me about the song though was the screaming at the end. If you listen to the entire album, I don't think there's screaming at any other point in the album. So I thought it was an interesting choice to like put that screaming at the end of the song, at the end of the album. Screaming has been making a little bit of a comeback, especially as the young people making music now grew up with some of the post-hardcore screaming.
I love screaming in songs. It's great.
I'm okay with it. It doesn't make or break a song for me.
A well-placed scream makes a song.
I think in this one, it was a good way to balance out the softness of the beginning of the song. The song really did build up, I would say.
Okay, on to the next song. All Star by the rapper Mike, featuring Earl Sweatshirt. Mike is a underground rapper from New York. He's part of a collective called Slums. So it's I'm a big fan of this new underground rap scene with people like Mike, Medhane, Navy Blue, Mavi. There's a lot of underground rappers that kind of take a more stripped back approach to rap instrumentally and rapping wise. They kind of more down tempo and somber most of the time. And the beats are usually a lot more experimental and avant-garde in a certain way. So Mike became kind of bigger in the underground scene around 2016, maybe 2015. I don't know, around there. And he got bigger because Earl Sweatshirt said that he liked Mike, and so that put some attention on him. Ever since then, that's really when I first found out about Mike, because I'm a huge Earl Sweatshirt fan, and I became a huge Mike fan. But ever since then, I really wanted to hear Earl Sweatshirt on a Mike song. Like, I wanted to hear them on each other's songs, and that never happened until, recently, when he just released his new album, Weight of the World, and one song on the album features Earl Sweatshirt, All Star, and that's what we're about to listen to. Okay, we just listened to All Star by Mike featuring Earl Sweatshirt.
Not to be confused by Smash Mouth's All Star. At this point, I mean, they must have named it. I don't know if they did, but All Star's such a big meme that I feel like.
How do you get away from that? There's no reference to it in the song, but maybe they were thinking of it.
I don't know. Okay, I guess first initial thoughts. I like Earl Sweatshirt more than Mike as a rapper.
I think Mike is kind of an acquired taste, I think.
Yeah.
Where even Earl Sweatshirt now in this point in his career is more of an acquired taste as well, but I think he's more immediate than Mike.
Yeah. I'd agree. Yeah, but also Earl is still more.
He's just a better rapper in general.
And he has better phrasing. Just overall, I could actually understand him a lot better.
Yeah,
Mike as well.
Where and there's something to be said about something I do like about Mike is like his an amateurishness to him, to his music and to his rapping, where it kind of sounds like he's just putting it together, very DIY and not super technical.
Very, very bastard of him, you would say?
I guess, yeah,
harking back to our Tyler, the Creator episode.
Odd Future has been a huge influence on a lot of rappers as well.
Yeah, that is true. I definitely don't want to diss the DIY scene, because they're the ones that keep things exciting. But I think by this point you probably figured out my stance. I like the more clean up stuff a little bit more.
So what did you think of the song in general, though?
I thought the song was alright. I kind of wish they had put in maybe like another segment in there, like to break it up, kind of like either like a bridge segment or something, because it did feel like a very one track kind of like same beat for 3 minutes kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how a lot of his songs are, and it's, again, I wouldn't fault anybody for not liking his music, because he kind of just like makes a kind of like a lo-fi-ish beat with like kind of one sample, does that, raps over it for a few minutes, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't fault anybody for not liking that.
I mean, this song, I think, it wouldn't call it, it doesn't drag just because there's two rappers, so like, it does switch it up a little bit on you. And then the end of the song also kind of throws you off your feet a little bit. I think Earl was saying, what did he say? Like, I'm gonna
leave proudly, and then it kind of just cuts right after that.
Yeah, it literally just cuts, and it kind of just takes you back. I mean, over here we were like, oh, was that on purpose? Because there were like 20 more seconds of the song there at the end. So, but you know what? I like that. Maybe they could have made it 10 seconds instead of 20 seconds, but now we're just picking at straws over here.
And I like the song. I've been highly anticipating a Mike and Earl Sweatshirt song, but I don't know if I'm disappointed. It's kind of like, I don't know, it kind of just sounds like a typical Mike song, where it's kind of like and I've heard him, it's not the best beat I've heard either, because he produces most of his own stuff too, Mike, and it sounds like a typical beat he would produce, kind of like kind of a lo-fi-ish sample, just repeated and with like a pretty minimal drum beat under it and not much else. But I don't know, it's not the best beat I've heard from him.
Would you have preferred like an Earl Sweatshirt track with Mike on it?
I probably would have preferred that on it. Like, I'd love to hear an Earl Sweatshirt track with Mike as the feature, Because I kind of feel like Earl carried this track a little
Yeah.
bit. Mike didn't really bring his A game, I don't think.
Yeah,
I think he might have.
Mike was more like, it sounded more like he was an intro to Earl.
Yeah. Where I think if Mike was featured on an Earl Sweatshirt song, he might have maybe brought it a little more.
Yeah, I don't know, but I have been hearing his name a lot more. I've been seeing it on the blogs. Been seeing the name Mike get thrown around.
Yeah, he's been getting some notoriety.
Yeah. Right. You think there's an album coming out of either of them?
I mean, Mike just released an album.
Oh, yeah, you did say that.
Weight of the World. And Earl Sweatshirt released some rap songs. I think it was 2018.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Around there, and I mean that was one of my favorite albums of that year. And he released an EP a little bit after that, which was okay. So I mean, Earl Sweatshirt's probably gonna release something fairly soon, maybe this year or next year. I haven't heard anything about it though.
All right, cool. So that was Mike and Earl Sweatshirt. We got one last song that we're gonna listen to. This one was kind of based out of a recommendation from a fan of ours. I guess we could say a fan. A listener
on Reddit.
A listener of ours. They were commenting on our last new music release that they were really digging the new Lithics release. They had a new album or EP. I forget what it was, but I picked out a track from them called Beat Fall. It's kind of more of a post-punk kind of track. So we're gonna listen to some of that. All right, we just listened to Beat Fall from Lithics, and that was based on a recommendation from a listener / commenter. So we are listening to what you guys are. If you guys have comments on some of the stuff that you're enjoying, put them down, and at the very least we'll check it out and see what it is.
Yeah. So that was very post-punk.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Very, very sounded like some late 70s, early 80s post-punk. Bass-driven, very bass
super bass-driven.
Yeah, and the guitar was kind of just like freak out over it, and a monotone talking lyrics as well. Overall, I mean, I don't know. I don't think this track did anything very interesting. It didn't really do anything we haven't heard before. Like, this is pretty, like...
It's not anything... Yeah, it's not anything, like... Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, there's nothing different about it. No, maybe besides the specifics of it, but...
I mean, like, I feel like I've heard post-punk songs like this a million times before, and it kind of dragged because it doesn't change really at all from the beginning to the end. And I was hoping, like, through it that it would, like, have some kind of change up, because I do actually like this sound. Like, this is a sound that I like, so as soon as it started with that heavy bass coming in and that, like, kind of driving steady drum rhythm and the freak out guitar shit, I was kind of into it, but then it just did that for 3 minutes straight, and it was boring.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I really do like the sound. I mean, I'm a fan of post-punk as well. So there's, the formula is there. I would say I like that the vocals are, because one thing I've never really like been super into about, say, like Gang of Four. I was never really into the vocals there. But I like the way that these vocals are working.
I don't really like most punk or post-punk vocals. Like, most of them aren't that good.
Yeah, they tend to be kind of very rough around the edges.
Except for the Misfits. Danzig had great vocals.
I guess it is great vocals, yeah. I'm not going to diss on his vocals. This song reminds me of other bands that have been coming out recently. There's been a healthy amount of post-punk bands around these days. There's a few other ones that kind of came to mind just instantly, like I like to listen to B-Boys. I didn't like their last release, but B-Boys have released a few good songs here and there. But yeah, I mean, I forget some of the names of the other ones right now. But yeah, post-punk, definitely not. I mean, I think it's been well and alive for about 20 years now.
Ever since, I guess, that post-punk revival of, the early 2000s. It's kind of stayed steady since then. Hasn't really...
Right.
It hasn't really totally gone away.
Well, I will say that, like, maybe something different is that post-punk nowadays, tends to focus a lot on these like the weird erratic guitar sounds, whereas before maybe it was focusing on, I don't know, on like the more Joy Division aspect of it, or on the
Well, I feel like post-punk, just like punk, was not really a very strong genre, as in like it didn't really have one sound. It kind of had a million different sounds, and
oh no,
they
of
just
course not, no,
put
no.
it over one umbrella.
No, but like I do like this brand of post punk that's been going on recently.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of artists who have taken. I think that your criticism, I think, is probably the best thing, because a lot of this is the longest track for them. All the other tracks I think were like a minute long, because they were also, yeah, kind of like the same thing, like one groove and out kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
And
If it was
so
a minute long, I probably would have liked it more because it's
yeah,
just like one
maybe.
idea. They play it for a minute and then they go on to the next
I
idea.
I think this was supposed to be like their single, like, let's get like the most infectious one, uh, make it 3 minutes long, call it a single. But
That's the worst idea.
it's
Like, all those
it's
1 minute songs that you have, just make it 2 minutes longer, make it a single.
yeah, well,
That's not gonna work.
it is a bit of a, I don't know. And when you like say it out loud, it definitely doesn't sound quite as good. But I do feel like that's the pressure some bands feel, especially if they put out shorter songs. To put out something that's a little bit longer than a minute.
Yeah.
But
Is this is Lithics like have they been around for a while? Or is this like their first thing?
I think they're pretty new, to be honest. Yeah, they had one album before this called Mating Surfaces from 2018. And
Yeah.
actually, I don't even know where they're from. But yeah, they're a pretty new band. It looks like they're from Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
again, I like the sound that they have. I just wish they'd do something different with it. It's just it
yeah,
sounds like any number of other post-punk bands.
yeah. I think they have a good foundation. I think if they use it as a jumping off point and started add more elements, or like add different sections to the music so that you don't have to just one groove the entire time, like make it more complex, I the song structure, I would say. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, no, it's a state of post punk these days. All right, those are the songs that we wanted to listen to today. We did want to give some shout out to a few things. For instance, Toro y Moi has a new single. It sounds pretty much like Toro y Moi.
So
So he's pretty consistent.
if you like them, listen to it. If you don't, then don't.
Right. And then you noticed that Neil Young had a new album.
So yeah, Neil Young just released an album recently called Homegrown. And normally I wouldn't really care about a new Neil Young release, but this one was apparently something that he recorded in 1974 that
the height of his career.
Yeah, basically the height of Neil Young's career, his kind of best period in my opinion, at least in a lot of people's opinions. But yeah, he recorded it and then just it stayed unreleased until today because I think he recorded it after he recorded On the Beach or before, I don't know. But so he was planning to release it, and he actually made cover art for it and everything. And then in the last minute, he didn't release it because I guess it was too personal for him. He wrote it right after he broke up with his girlfriend, which I guess was traumatic for him or something. But I'm pretty sure the album's all about that. And so yeah, he just shelved it. He ended up releasing Tonight's the Night instead of that album. And so yeah, it remained unreleased until recently.
Yeah, Neil Young's a sensitive man.
He is.
He's not to diss him or anything, but
Oh no, I'll tell you. I mean, listen to his music.
That's I guess it's one of the main draws to his music is just how sensitive he is. And
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Neil Young, especially from that period. So I was excited to hear it, and I heard like some of it, and it's fine. It's more of Neil Young's like acoustic country type stuff, like Harvest or something like that. So, and that's, I mean, I kind of prefer his stuff where he's maybe a little more electric, a little more edgy.
No, I'm a big fan of Harvest. Yeah, and I like his. Well, it depends. It depends. As long as it's got. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's got to be a good song.
I love After the Gold Rush, and that's a lot like Harvest too. But I feel like
Right.
the songwriting's better on that album than Harvest. I like Harvest too. I mean, I think it's a really good album. but it's to me it's one of the maybe lesser albums of that period of Neil Young.
Okay, we'll have to do Neil Young at some point.
Neil Young episode.
Yeah,
do 48 albums.
I think Harvest is my favorite album from Neil Young, but
period. You're
maybe,
completely insane.
Maybe.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
I definitely like it more than After the Gold Rush, but
I love After the Gold Rush might be my favorite.
After the Gold Rush is a really good one, but I like Harvest. I've already decided I like Harvest more After the Gold Rush.
I don't know. I love After the Gold Rush. That might be my number one, or On the Beach.
Maybe the only thing I think is that what was it? What did he do After the Gold Rush? Was it Southern Man?
Yeah.
And then I didn't like the fact that he went and did Alabama on Harvest. But
yeah,
that's like one of the only criticisms I like that I really like have about Harvest.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that like,
and
why would you go ahead and do it again?
And Harvest has The Needle and the Damage Done, which is like one of the best songs he's made.
Yeah, that one's a great song. Yeah, but yeah, no, we'll cover Neil Young another time.
I mean, I'd love to do a Neil Young episode.
Yeah. But for now, those are new music segment. Stay tuned. We're still trying to figure out exactly how often to release these, but right now we're just going off of like whenever we have enough songs to really talk about.
Yeah, so and we will be releasing that Ariel Pink, the second part of Ariel Pink,
pretty soon,
Monday. So get ready for that. Follow us on Twitter at BloodOnTheMic1, on Instagram at BloodOnTheMic. Follow me on Twitter at Torna Lewis.
Make sure to go on the YouTube channel, and anybody who's still on Facebook, we got something there too. But yeah, YouTube, and Instagram, and Twitter, etc.
Thanks for listening.